Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Commander Mark Sirawa. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. During the ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors and students on behalf of the following schools. From New South Wales, Rotary Adventurers in Citizenship. From Western Australia, St Mark's Community School, Hillary. And from South Australia, St Peter's Lutheran School, Blackwood, and King's Baptist Grammar School, Winville. I invite you all now to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's first World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flight Sergeant Geoffrey Augustine Lynch. Born in the small town of Rochester in central Victoria on the 28th of November 1919, Geoffrey Augustine Lynch was the son of Andrew and Theodora Lynch. Prior to his enlistment in the Royal Australian Air Force in Melbourne on the 20th of June 1941, Geoffrey Lynch had been working as a clerk. Following enlisting, he began training as a navigator. In 1942, he embarked for overseas service. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, Lynch was one of almost 27,500 RAAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners, and engineers who, throughout the course of the year, joined squadrons based in Britain. After arriving in Britain, Lynch undertook further specialist training before being posted in August 1943 to No. 207 Squadron in the Royal Air Force. As part of the RAF Bomber Command, No. 207 Squadron was equipped with the 4-engine Avro Lancaster heavy bomber. Lynch had only been with the squadron for a matter of weeks when he was killed in action during a raid over Germany. On the night of the 27th to the 28th of August, the Lancaster, in which Lynch was the navigator, was shot down near Nuremberg, Germany, by a night fighter. Lynch and all 6 of his crewmates were killed. They were fellow Australians, Flying Officer Hugh John McCulloch, Flight Sergeant Keeble Charles French, Flying Officer John Richard Welch, and British Airman Sergeant Leslie Thomas Reynolds, Sergeant James Seddon, and Sergeant Arthur Herbert Wedden. Geoffrey Lynch was 23 years old. His body was recovered and he was buried alongside his crewmates at the British and Commonwealth War Cemetery at Dernbach, south of Munich, Germany. His name is listed here on the Roll of Honor on your right, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flight Sergeant Geoffrey Augustine Lynch, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
I invite you all to please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left behind grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we shall remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.